Hello, good morning. Welcome to JoyNews. That's We're coming to you live from our studios in Kokomlemle. We're on DTT because we're free to work. Coming up this morning, organized labor kickstarts series of actions to force government to withdraw 15% VAT on electricity consumption as its members were read today signaling their protest. More as we're hearing that government intends to step down on the tax. Well, Guta is also throwing its weight behind TUC for the scrapping of the tax. Also, air quality in Accra reported to have reached hazardous levels according to air monitoring index site IQ Air. We have details of that report for you shortly. Plus, looming diplomatic role as Burkina Faso's military leader Ibrahim Traore hints of consultations with Mali and Niger to take a final decision on whether or not Ghanaian traders and other West African nationals can easily do business in their countries pending their exit from the regional bloc ECOWAS. We'll bring you more as the military ruler takes on President Akufo-Addo and other heads of state for peddling falsehood about his country. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. We have more of this plus business coming up shortly. Please stay for details. Many thanks for choosing us. Organized labor this morning is wearing red handbands in a series of actions to compel the government to withdraw a 15% VAT on electricity consumption. The workers say if the government fails to withdraw the directive, they will stage a massive demonstration on February 13. Listen to Secretary General of the TUC making an earlier announcement.
Ultimatum of 31st January, which elapsed on on Wednesday. We gave that ultimatum to government to withdraw that letter. As we speak today is second, we have not seen any letter withdrawing that directive. In between the time we issued this statement and now, ECG itself has come out to say that they are not ready to even implement this kind of VAT. But that's not our matter. It's between them and their government. This afternoon we met to, in that statement, we said if by 31st, government had not withdrawn this directive to ECG and NEDCO, we will meet here and we will advise ourselves. So this afternoon we have met here and we have advised ourselves. It is that advice that we are going to communicate to the press. Our advice is very simple. We have advised ourselves that this government is taking Ghanaians for granted. And so we are going to lead a very massive demonstration in all the regional capitals, the 16 regional capitals of Ghana, on the 13th of February. That will be Tuesday.
I've been joined by Ken Kodia, who is Vice Chairman of the TUC. I'm grateful for your time, sir. We are hearing that there has been an agreement from Cabinet for the 15% VAT to be withdrawn. Have you received any official communication?
Good morning to you and good morning to our viewers. Unfortunately, no. We have not received any official communication from the government to this effect. We are hearing from the media, just as I'm sure you've heard, but officially, no. We are yet to receive such communication.
In that case, what next for Labour?
What next for Labour is our plan of actions. Today, if you went around, you will see that most of our institutions are on red bands. We've outlined a series of activities geared towards the final demonstration. So, beginning with red band today, and then it continues to the point where government, if it doesn't step in, then we'll have to shut out our offices.
Well, there are calls for Labour to also reject the emission levy because that will also burden the Ghanaian worker. Are you considering that also?
Say again, please.
The emission levy. Are you considering adding that to your demands?
No, we are certain that IMF will surely compel or let the government come up with policies that would always affect the workers' income. I mean, that's the ultimate. Whatever comes up is going to affect our purchasing power, the value of our income. And we would wait one at a time. For now, it is the VAT issue. We know that there could be others in the pipeline. Water will come up shortly. But we are resolved that in all this, government must first consult, let's engage, let's talk. There could be other options, other alternatives for all of us than the unilateral decisions that government seek to, or approach government seeks to always take. So if there's emission in the pipeline, officially we've not received that communication yet. Once it comes to our attention, I'm sure Labour will meet and take the necessary decision that also.
So from now till 13th February, I mean, how is the plan? I mean, what's the plan? From today, you are in red. Tomorrow, are you going to continue to be in red till the 13th of February? Do you have a planned activity to actually press home your demands?
Yes, we do. We've sent notices to all our regions. We've written to the IGP. We've written to regional police commanders. We've written to our regional officers. We've asked every union to write to its employer, informing them of our intentions. All the worker leaders in every institution have been given the itinerary and series of actions. So we've done whatever we have to do till the last day where we'll all come out and lock our offices and be on the street.
Ken Kodi, I'm grateful for your time. He's Vice Chairman of TUC. We will be monitoring how things unfold and also see if really government is going to step down on the 15% VAT. But Ranking Member on Parliament's Employment, Social Welfare and State Enterprises Committee, Dr. Kwabena Donko, has described as politically unwise government's decision to implement that task. He reiterates the need for the Finance Minister to withdraw the tax.
For nothing, that the Rawlings regime, the Kufuor regime, the Atamus regime, the Mahama regime, and even the first term of the Akufo-Addo regime never imposed this VAT on domestic consumption. It is not for nothing. And therefore, to unilaterally even attempt to do this without consultation, without a public discussion, to issue a fiat is unfortunate and politically unwise. And it kills the people of Ghana when they are already down. I believe the government should withdraw it and let's look for some other means of making the energy sector far more efficient, reduce costs, and increase revenue. Let's get this straight. No Ghanaian voted for the finance minister. Ghanaians voted for a president, and Ghanaians voted for a legislature. So the finance minister is only a treasurer, the national treasurer, and she should comply by the directives of the president in cabinet.
Meanwhile, the Ghana Union of Trades Association GUTA also says it strongly opposes the proposed implementation of the electricity and emission levies due to the detrimental economic consequences it will have on businesses. We'll be sharing that press statement with you shortly, but first listen to President Dr. Joseph Obing. He spoke on the AM show.
We've been talking about cost of doing business, and it is actually not helping us in terms of payment of duty, in terms of payment of taxes, especially the challenges that we have with the VAT structure is not helping the cost of trading at all. And so then if you think about inflation, it has eaten up the purchasing power of the consuming public. And so it also affects the rate of turnover that we used to enjoy. And so this is the state of doing business now. Now, the indicators are getting right, and we expect that we do things that will help us sustain the gains that we are having. And unfortunately, the government keep piling the taxes that will come and then halt this the gains that we are having. And that's why we are talking against the new taxes, because at least we were able to achieve exceedingly our revenue targets. So if this electricity tax and then emission is a form of enhancement of the revenue collection, then of course we are just thinking about revenue without thinking about productivity. Because government itself knows that we cannot overtax ourselves out of production.
Well, I've been joined by Professor of Finance at the University of Ghana Business School, Professor Lord Mensah, because the question is, what will be the effect whether the tax is implemented or withdrawn? Prof, I'm grateful for your time. We understand that many taxes, including 15% on the VAT on electricity and the emission tax also, are all efforts by government to meet some IMF conditionalities. Now we are hearing Cabinet has agreed to remove the VAT if IMF permits it. The question now remains, what would be the implications of implementing such tax or actually withdrawing them?
Well, good morning to our viewers. If government goes ahead to implement this tax, we have to look at the pass-through effect of the taxes. The pass-through effect is that prices are likely to go up, because a business that is, paying electricity bill that has gone up by 15% will not absorb, that increment. Will definitely pass it on to the consumer. And as a result of that, the consumer is going to pay more. And by so doing, we'll have to look at inflation. And from where I sit, I think that is even going to make the work of the Monetary Policy Committee difficult, because for some time now, they've been easing up, the monetary policy rate. I mean, knowing very well that inflation is coming up, it's coming down. So effectively, it will make their work difficult. That is one side of it. On the other side, if you look at, a government proposal to the IMF, right, that we may have to increase our revenue from 15% of our GDP that we're doing to 18%, then government has to find a way to, get these parameters before we get the subsequent releases of the IMF. And so if, we scrap this and government does not find any avenue to have a way of filling in this possible 15%, I think it will go against, the IMF program. And of course, you have to tie the political, timings to it. Because if you look at the year that we find ourselves in, it is an election year. Of course, we've been able to manage to get the 600, million that is supposed to come through. So the next, IMF review, which we're expecting it to be in June, if we don't get anything or any, concrete filling of this 15%, then there's going to be, a problem in getting the subsequent releases. But I think, the government can do more, because we have to think about, the revenue. Because for the past years, government has been generating revenue. What do we see? I mean, what do we get from that? JRA sometimes announces, exceeding their, revenue target. But then what do we see? Do we see any investment that will build up into tax generation? Do we see any investment that will widen the tax net, rather than going through these, excise taxes that has to hit every single Ghanaian who has been burdened with, taxes already? So from where I sit, I think government can do more, to make sure that the typical Ghanaian get relief, as far as his purchasing power is concerned. So I think it's a win-win situation. And economic management has always been like that. It has to do with how you can introduce something that you have to sacrifice the other. But then also, you have to think about the people. We are talking about Ghana here, a situation where, inflation has gone up to a certain level that has wiped out, people's income. You have to think through it very well when you are introducing, taxes of that nature.
Actually, getting revenue to filling these loopholes rather than just taxing Ghanaians?
Of course, the ECG itself, if they should go all out and ensure that, they are collecting their revenues efficiently, I think the 15% should be able to fill it. And I don't think we will need this 15%, taxes.
I'm grateful for your time. Professor Lord Mensah is a professor of finance at the University of Ghana Business School. We'll see how this unfolds, if government is going to withdraw or not. But JoyNews interacted with some members of the public on the AM show on how they feel about the taxes.
The 15% that they have put on the electricity is not fine. To me, I may say they should remove it totally. But before they remove it, and we believe those people that it's really that they have done it, unless the government issue white paper on it. Other than that, we, the people in Ghana, would never and never forgive him.
I am not happy with the increment in these tariffs, because last year when government was bargaining over the minimum wage with the labor unions, government made Ghanaians aware that they were going to increase the wage by 23%. And Ghanaians were a bit okay, thinking that the burden would be a bit relieved, only to find out that more taxes has been packed on Ghanaians. Frankly speaking, I think government needs to reconsider some of these taxes.
Oh, but that tax is not good. It's not good for us to pay that tax, because the taxes is too much on Ghanaians. So this government to stop giving us plenty taxes and those things, because we are suffering now. Why we are paying more taxes in this country like that? If they are collecting money you don't know what they are using the money for. Always different tax, Why?
As Ghanaians, we can all attest that the economy has contracted. So it requires the government to take certain measures to ensure that the economy expanded. So they have to take expansionary policy. And in imposing 15% VAT on utility, it's more or less you are helping the economy to contract the more, because this is going to increase unemployment.
Away from the VAT on electricity consumption, Accra currently has the worst air quality in the world, according to IQ Air. The current air pollution in the city is 61 times the WHO annual air quality guideline value. My colleague Kwekwa Sante joins us with more on this. Kweku, where does Ghana rank on this?
So, Aisha, if you look at the world ranking now, Ghana is ranked the worst. And in fact, if you look at the data from months gone by, it used to be India that used to have this very poor quality air quality. In fact, if you step out now and you look at the atmosphere, you see that the weather is really polluted. So let me take you through the ranking. You see Accra, Ghana, ranking 313. That is the AQI US. And then the next closest is Mumbai in India. That is 171, which tells you that, in fact, if you look at the poor quality of the atmosphere in Ghana, it is almost double what you see in India now, and it has been so over the past few years. And in fact, if you look at 313 that we are scoring on the ranking now, the appropriate measure, which is a moderate, is from 0 to 50. So you need to score between 0 and 50 to be able to breathe in some quality air. And Ghana is currently having 313 currently, and that is a lot. In fact, if you do an in-depth analysis of why Ghana is scoring that much, they don't provide so much detail, but they say that the air quality in Ghana now is very, very unhealthy, and they advise people to put on masks, to use humidifiers and other things to be able to get that. They ask people to avoid outdoor exercise, close windows, get an air purifier, wear a nose mask, among other things. In fact, over the past few years, there have been some studies that have gone into to necessarily specify why this is so. Some have sought to put it down to the harmattan, but some of us have done the comparative analysis that this is not the first time we are recording Hamatan or the dry season in the country. It has not always been like this. It's a testament to climate change and also the burning of refuse, among other things. And so, in fact, if you look at certain segments in Accra, if you look at Agbogulushi, you look at University of Ghana, if you look at the area around the U.S. Embassy in Ghana, the air quality differs a little bit. But the general view is that the atmosphere is really polluted in Accra.
So what reasons have been given for the deteriorating air quality?
So there's currently studies ongoing from both the EPA and also the Ghana Meteorological Agency that have been doing some analysis on why this air quality is so bad, and we expect that in the coming days that will come on to authoritatively confirm why or what exactly is contributing to this. But for now, this has been put to the indiscriminate burning of bush around the country. In fact, the area around the Accra Mall was just set ablaze instead of city authorities actually going there with mowers to lawn the place up. That has also been raised. If you go to Agbogulushi, it's one of the places in Accra that the air pollution and air quality issues are really dire. And so in the coming days, we expect an authoritative report from either the EPA or the Ghana Meteorological Agencies to really point to what exactly this is. But now it's a really high cause for concern. And the advice to the public is to wear masks, to use humidifiers, or to just stay indoors completely.
Kwekwa with those details for us will be the advice actually out there is for you to mask up and also stay indoors if you can. Let's get on to other stories. There's a looming diplomatic role as Burkina Faso's military leader Ibrahim Traoré has disclosed in a television interview that his country will consult with Mali and Niger to take a final decision on whether or not Ghanaian traders and other West African nationals can easily do business in their countries. The three nations officially announced their departure from the Economic Community of West African States. ECOWAS raising fears of a Ghana Union of Traders, GUTA, who say they're members who import vegetables and other livestock from Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger will be affected. Meanwhile, responding to what the fate of traders who import from the Sahel will turn out to be, Ibrahim Traoré says a final determination will be made on the matter. The military ruler also appears to be unhappy with President Akufo-Addo and other West African leaders within the ECOWAS bloc who he says are peddling falsehood about Burkina Faso.
Du média mensonge encore. Et malheureusement, on avait même vu des chefs d'État qui sont tombés dedans, qui sont allés raconter du mensonge, soi-disant qu'on a donné des mines à des Russes à notre partie sud.
Unfortunately, we have even seen some heads of state who fell into this and went to tell the lie, supposedly, that we have given our mines to the Russians in our southern parts. If the Russians want a mine, we have the mining laws. They come and integrate into it. We give them their license and they pay their taxes and do everything they have to do like anyone else. We will see and decide what measures to take in due course. It is not a rush. It is not an outburst of anger. If it was an outburst, we would have done it long time ago.
Monsieur le Président, ce départ de la CEDEAO?
Bien sûr, très bien réfléchi.
I've been joined by the Dean of the Ghana Armed Forces Command and Staff College, Professor Vladimir Chidanso, on this. I'm grateful for your time, Prof. So should we be worried about this statement from the Burkina president?
But the point is this, that it was inevitable. I mean, what he's saying is something that would happen even without words. Once they form a new common external tariff, common market, and they are forming another union, it means our union, ECOWAS, the remnants of ECOWAS, will have to trade with them on different terms. Each member of the ECOWAS is now called a third country. And again, they should be worried also about our utterances about Wagner. Wagner is their own determination. They decided that Wagner should be there. But ECOWAS is being hysterical about this. I've had occasions to warn that Wagner will not enter any of the ECOWAS countries. They are not invited. And if for them, Wagner is doing a good job, what right do we have to castigate them? If it were black water from America, would we have cause for concern? The G5, they were supported by French legion. Did we complain? The G5 was supported also by contingents from Germany and other countries. Did we complain? And then let us also note that the PMCs, they are everywhere. Most countries have them. Britain has the biggest PMC in the world of over 700,000 men and women. That's a whole kind of army. It's bigger than Ghana's army 10 times, bigger than Nigerian army, bigger than any army. And they are also doing such things in other countries. It looks as though the three countries are feeling that we are being pushed by the U.S. and or the West to derail their determination to get out of ECOWAS, their determination to get out of the yoke of France. So we also need to be very careful with our utterances. I know that our president and the rest of West Africa are worried about Wagner's presence in Burkina and other places. But let me tell you, they are enjoying the presence of Wagner, so we have no legal right to accuse them. Mali has been able to push the jihadists all the way to the borders with Algeria. So why wouldn't they be happy with Wagner, even though MINUSMA of over 10,000 UN troops couldn't do much, and French troops couldn't do much. So what I will promise, what I will think is the promise should be ECOWAS dexterity and diplomacy to bring them back. Any threat or intimidation or any unsavory remarks about what they are doing will keep them more away. And remember, the land mass of ECOWAS, which is going away from ECOWAS, is about 70% of the total land mass of West Africa. And we should be very much concerned.
What's in it for Ghana, especially as the Burkinabe president specifically mentions our president, who is also the president of ECOWAS?
Yes, you should be worried because here is a prominent person, and this is not the first time our president has expressed worry about Wagner's presence in Burkina. It nearly ended in a diplomatic row, I think last year or so. So I'm saying we should go slow. They have taken their decision already. If it is going to be detrimental to Africa or West Africa, what we need to do is to use diplomacy. I've spoken on a number of stations and I've pleaded with ECOWAS to use track 2 diplomacy. They shouldn't send our heads of state, the Makisas, the Ouattaras, the Kufuados. No. They should talk to these people using track 2 diplomacy, where you use prominent persons like Beho, like Chambers, and others. They will listen to such persons. And again, we shouldn't lament what they are doing. If they are right, they felt bad under the French yoke, they felt bad under ECOWAS, and even they didn't remain in the UEMOA. Remember that they have a common security threat, and that's why they put their alliance together. And we should either encourage them to be viable. When they are viable, we can still trade with them. It's a union within Africa. Or if we won't encourage them, we should persuade them to come back.
Professor Vladimir Nchidanso is Dean of the Ghana Armed Forces College. I'm grateful for your time, sir, this morning. Let's do other stories on cocoa, because management of Cocoa Board has responded to a widely circulated official letter it issued to Afrotropic Processing Company Limited to import cocoa beans to process in Ghana. Cocoa Board says the letter has been subject of misinterpretation on social media, leading to misinformation. The letter issued by the board reads, management of Cocoa Board has taken note of the widespread circulation of an official letter from the regulator to Afrotropic Cocoa Processing Company Limited. The letter, in response to the company's request to import cocoa beans to process in Ghana, has been a subject of misinterpretation on social media, and that has led to misinformation. We would like to clarify as follows. All processing companies in Ghana established post-November 2001 are permitted by law to import cocoa beans for processing in Ghana. 2, the practice is to help the companies to meet their desired recipes for chocolate production and other uses. And Ghana's cocoa is premium cocoa, and as part of cost management and operational strategy, companies often blend premium Ghana cocoa with less premium cocoa beans from other producing countries. It is an industry practice that has existed for over 20 years to allow factories to import from other countries, including Cote d'Ivoire, Togo, Nigeria, and Ecuador. The public is urged to disregard the false claim deduced from the leaked letter, and it's issued by the Public Affairs Department. Now, I've been joined by the Public Relations Officer of Cocoa Board, Fifi Boafo. Grateful for your time, Fifi Boafo. What will trigger a cocoa company in Ghana to actually import beans from other countries when definitely they operate in a state which is the world's second largest producer of cocoa?
Well, thanks for the opportunity. The basis for any company to import from outside Ghana is what we've indicated in the response or the letter we indicated or we issued. One, it has to do with the recipe requirements of the company. Two, it has to do with cost management of that company and the operational strategy that company decides to employ. It is not a new thing. It's something that has been part of the industry for some number of years. So for a company to import cocoa and then blend here in Ghana, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it, and it's a practice that is already known within the cocoa industry.
You may call the quantity involved as light. How light is the importation of beans worth over 2.5 thousand kilotons?
Well, the 2,500 tons that is being imported, if you look at the production figures of Ghana, we do an average of about 850,000 metric tons, and this is 2,500 metric tons. Certainly, you would all say that that is significant in terms of the production numbers we deal with in our country.
Well, we know that the price per bag of cocoa beans was increased by some 60%. Has that created any challenge for government to be able to afford beans for export?
No, it has not. Yes, we are still buying cocoa from cocoa farmers, and the prospects going forward even looks brighter. Generally, production across all the cocoa producing countries is not looking that good. But the good side of what is happening is that it has also influenced the price positively. So the price at the world market is now better than we've seen in the last years. So it's an indication that going forward, cocoa that will be purchased will have better price going into the future. And the forward sales we are doing today will give us better prospects. And we will say that the price that was announced has not in any way affected our ability to buy cocoa from cocoa farmers.
Let me ask you this. Did the delay in obtaining the $800 million syndicated loan affect Cocoa Board in any way?
If you have funds for operations and you get it early enough, it boosts how you are able to do business. But the good thing is that the funds are available at the moment. The drawdown was done December, and then part of it has been dispersed to the people we are supposed to give the monies to for their operations, and the operations are ongoing. The preference would have been for us to draw down earlier than we did, but thankfully we've been able to do that now, and then operation is ongoing.
So it didn't account for any of these?
What we need to understand, Aisha, is that the decision by the company to import has nothing to do with Ghana's inability to buy cocoa from cocoa farmers. That's not the case.
You've made that point, but the question many ask is, you are the second largest producing country in terms of cocoa production. So many they're baffled why we should still be importing.
No, Aisha, the point about companies blending Ghana's cocoa with other cocoa is as a result of cost management. When we say cost management, probably a bit of explanation will help us in understanding the issues better. The Ghana cocoa is premium cocoa, and with premium cocoa, it comes at a cost. And the cost to the company that is buying from Ghana, they will prefer to buy less premium cocoa. With a less premium cocoa, it means that the amount of money they will spend will also be less, for which reason they will prefer that, yes, having some amount of cocoa from Ghana, it will make business sense for them to also buy the less expensive one, which is in terms of premium lesser, from different countries and blend it from Ghana. Not a case to say that, no, we are unable to get cocoa from Ghana, and that is the reason why we are doing so. Another point I need to draw your attention to is the fact that most of these companies prefer to buy the light crop beans. The light crop beans is the smaller type of the beans. The smaller type of the beans here in Ghana is discounted, and with the discounts, they pay less. So, and the light crop beans constitute about 15% of our cocoa. With the light crop beans, their inability to get the whole quantity required from the light crop beans, then they will opt for cocoa from different countries. Not to say that we do not have cocoa available, but in the main crop beans, that is more expensive, and their preference is to look for a cheaper cocoa product to blend with what they have available.
I'm grateful for your time. Fifi Boafo, he is the PRO of Cocoa Board, and he says that importing cocoa beans is not really because they are short-chain, but it's to blend with a premium Ghanaian cocoa. Now, the Tammany Dam project was to serve as an intervention to halt the drift of young people in the Upper East region to the south in search of non-existent jobs. But the project expected to put thousands of farmlands under irrigation has progressed slowly for about 6 years. Former President John Mahama, who initiated the project, has assured of his preparedness to complete the project when voted into power again. Nana Ojima has more.
The vegetable farmers have found innovative means of using water from the Tammany irrigation dam for their farms, despite delayed completion. With water pumps sitting in the dam, water is pumped directly into the farms for all-year farming of vegetables. Even in the dry season, the vegetable farms here are doing well due to the irrigation structure in place. During a visit to the project, the NDC flag bearer, John Dramani Mahama, received a citation from the farmers in appreciation.
Thank you, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, for your transformative vision in constructing the Tammany Irrigation Dam. This vital project has become a cornerstone of livelihood for the youth, providing them with essential opportunities and sustainable economic empowerment.
They've not been able to continue the work that was supposed to be done, and they're doing it in bits and bits, and they are not completing it. So the farmers are actually praying that His Excellency, the transformative leader, comes back.
The Tammany Dam, when completed, is expected to put more than 10,000 hectares of farmland under irrigation. This is expected to change the face of agriculture in the area. A visit to the area found a few equipment at the site. Flag bearer of the NDC, John Mahama, explained the reason for initiating the facility in his term.
During the Harmattan, it's very dry, and there's no water available for anything. So in the past, our people during the dry season were unoccupied. And so they always drift down to the south to go and work and come back before the farming season. Unfortunately, the opportunities, don't exist. So a lot of them, when they go, just remain there and do menial work. And so the solution is to create the opportunities for them to be able to stay and work all the year round. And so that is what informed the construction of this dam. I cut the sod when I was president.
John Mahama says the next NDC government, if successful, will prioritize the project, especially for its aquaculture potentials.
I can see that they are working on the spillway. They need to extend it so that it doesn't erode back and create a problem for the dam wall. And so I think that's what they're doing. But the main work of doing the canal so that you can push the water to irrigate the land is yet to be done. And so it looks like it's an obligation that we would have to take up when we come into office, because that will really actually open up that land for irrigation. Right now, what these young people are doing is they are using their own initiative. They are using pumps and pumping the water. But ideally, the water should flow into the irrigated land, and then they open sluice gates and it flows into the farms.
Meanwhile, other silted dams in the area are high on the agenda of the NDC. From the Upper East region for JoyNews, Nana Yauchima reporting.
Delegates of the New Patriotic Party in the Doma East constituency have endorsed incumbent Member of Parliament Paul Chumberima as party's parliamentary candidate through popular acclamation. Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kwekwa Sante reports.
Paul Chumberima was the only candidate to have successfully filed his nomination to represent the governing party in the 2024 election in that constituency. Over 500 delegates participated in the Special Delegates Conference, where the MP was approved without contest following his success during the party's vetting process. Supervised by the Electoral Commission in the region, the exercise was also observed by the regional and constituency executives of the NPP. In expressing his gratitude during the conference, Paul Chumberima thanked the delegates for their renewed confidence in him.
It is about hard work and the confidence the good people of Doma East have once again reposed in me. Clearly, it is important for you to serve. Every leader, the first point of call for you is to serve. And Doma East people feel that Paul Chumberima has served them well. Therefore, they want to give him that opportunity to once again represent them at the 9th Parliament, where Dr. Mamadou Bawumia will be the next president of this great country. And I think that is why they gave me that opportunity.
Bono Regional Secretary of the NPP, Kofi Ofosu-Boateng, extolled the virtues of Paul Chumberima as a rising star within the NPP.
Doma East, if you have followed the trajectory of electoral votes, each elections, presidential elections, Doma East deliver for the Bono region in terms of popular votes. They ran number 4. So that's how important this constituency is. So we are all glad, we are all happy. And the nature of this individual, Paul Chumberima, is so distinguishing. He's one that has come into the region as a first-time member of parliament who's been able to bring along orphan constituencies in the region. 6 orphan constituencies in the region. You can feel his impact. You can feel the job that he does, even beyond his own constituency.
Member of the party's national communication team, Kwesi Botri, implored the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, to consider nominating Paul Chumberima as his running mate for the 2024 election.
Talk about health. So far, a lot of things are going on in this constituency about health. Clearly, Honorable Chumberima is an epitome of patriotism, hard work, and dedication. And I'm confident that most of the young people in the New Patriotic Party are looking out to him. You know that the New Patriotic Party boasts of having the men. And clearly, Honorable Chumberima is one of the men we have in the New Patriotic Party. I do not think that the NPP needs a clear-cut Asante person. We only need an account to complement the candidature of the Vice President. And an account can come from the Ashanti region or the Bono region. I will be glad if it goes to the Ashanti region, but I will also be excited if it comes to the Bono region, because they all form part of the New Patriotic Party. Clearly, where we are now, we do not even need a running mate from the Ashanti region. We need to complete the roads in the Ashanti region, make sure we are commissioning the airport and engaging a lot of infrastructure projects in the Ashanti region. That is what we need. The Ashantis will come out to overwhelmingly endorse the New Patriotic Party. But as for the running mate, we need an account. We don't necessarily need an Ashanti, but we need an account. And Bono region falls into the equation.
Paul Chumberima will be looking forward to winning again in Doma East to enter Parliament for the second time in 2025.
Let's cross borders to Nigeria, because armed men have shot dead a traditional ruler and kidnapped his wife plus one other person in southwestern Nigeria. Authorities say attackers stormed the palace of Segun Arimo, a retired army general and monarch whose official title is the Olukoro of Koro, on Thursday night. It is not clear who the gunmen were or whether they are demanding a ransom. This latest killing and abduction comes days after campaigners demanded a state of emergency to deal with the issue. Some 50 civil society groups want President Bola Tinubu to make that declaration, saying more than 1,800 people had been abducted since he took office last May. Joining us live from Nigeria is a partner with SBM Intelligence, Lagos, Ekimesi Efion. Thank you so much, and apologies for butchering your name. But what more can you tell us about this abduction, please?
Good morning, Aisha. Great to be with you. So this abduction, right, first and foremost, is, I think, the fourth incident that has happened in Ekiti State, which is a state in southwest Nigeria, just in a week, right? And that's a worrying bit of escalation for a state that up until now has been relatively quiet from an insecurity standpoint. But sort of more widely, right, Nigeria is dealing with a very pervasive kidnapping epidemic. Those civil society groups who made that call to President Tinubu that you mentioned in your opening actually used data that was compiled by us, right? So we've been tracking kidnapping incidents in Nigeria pretty much since 2012, right? And you have a situation where in any given year, upwards of 3,000 to 4,000 Nigerians are kidnapped, and those are for incidents that we can actually verify. Something in the order of 100 million plus naira has already been paid as ransoms, confirmed and verifiable ransoms since President Tinubu came into office in May of last year. And so even by Nigeria's really poor sort of security standards, this represents a very, very worrying escalation. The security services seem to be, inundated and in on their heads in terms of getting a handle of this problem. And you now have a situation where prominent members of society, even politicians themselves, not to speak of traditional rulers and religious leaders, have had to bear the brunt of this as they've recently become very high profile and kidnapping victims. So that's sort of the current state of affairs as it's.
Is President Tinubu showing any willingness to actually declare the state of emergency?
At the moment, it appears not, right? First and foremost, the president hasn't even articulated a coherent security strategy, what sorts of measures he would take, which sort of security incidents he would prioritize, what the policing and what the military strategy would be. Nigeria's military right now is deployed in every state of Nigeria, right? All 36 states. The federal capital itself, Abuja, is dealing with a rising spate of kidnappings. We've tracked a little over 60 incidents in Abuja itself this year. We actually even released a report last week that sort of just underscores the scale of the problem just in Abuja itself. Businesses have reported a 33% decrease in business earnings, right, since May of last year. Security dues for Abuja residents who live in gated communities have increased by 20%, right, just within the last 6 months. And so you have a situation where, short of making statements of condolences and expressing his resolve to deal with Nigeria's security challenges, the president hasn't really articulated a clear strategy to deal with these issues. Right now, the president is not even in the country to begin with. So for many Nigerians, it feels as though security has been deprioritized under this new administration in favor of probably the economy and other issues. And for many people, that's unacceptable.
That's quite alarming. Ekimesi Efion. I hope I mentioned your name right this time round. Thank you so much for talking to us. I'll take a break on JoyNews Desk. When we return, this business.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to the business segment on JoyNews Desk with me, Pius Kojo-Baka. The National Democratic Congress is committing to the activation of the cargo export intention of the Tamale Airport for agricultural product exploitation. Now, flag bearer of the party, John Dramani Mahama, says export of vegetables to Europe is one of the reasons for the investment in the northern region. Here's more.
The NDC's Building Ghana tour, which is soliciting public suggestions in drawing the party's 2024 election manifesto, continues to hold town hall meetings for the purpose. In meetings held at the Upper East region, calls for job opportunities for the youth were intensified. Due to the agricultural potential of the area, the NDC intends to create jobs through the improvement of factors affecting the sector. The Tamale International Airport remains vital in the established plan of the John Mahama-led government if successful in staging a comeback to power. Mr. Mahama explains the intentions for the airport's expansion in his term includes exportation of agricultural products.
When we designed Tamale International Airport, our intention was that it will not just be a passenger airport, but it will serve the whole of the north in terms of exporting vegetables and other products to Europe, because it is shorter from Tamale to Europe, it takes you 5 hours, than from Accra to Europe. And so if we are growing vegetables here, we have pack houses, we are packing those vegetables, and we're taking them to Tamale and putting them on flights to Europe. A lot of money will come back into the northern sector of the country. And so we'll build the cargo center at the Tamale Airport so that all the products that we produce from here that are exportable, we'll be able to pack them nicely and send them to Tamale and fly them to Europe for export.
The NDC flag bearer is committing to the revival of cotton cultivation, which served as revenue generation for farmers in off-season. He explains how.
We had 3 ginneries. One was here in the Upper East, one was in Tumu, and one was in Tamale. And they used to buy all the cotton that was grown. That was the product that used to give our parents cash, because they paid cash for it. Our parents grew crops to feed our families: sorghum, millet, guinea corn, groundnuts, maize. And then getting to the end of the farming season, they put cotton into the crops. And after they have harvested their food, the cotton grows, they pick the cotton, and they go and sell it to the ginnery, and they get cash to look after their families. We're going to revive the cotton industry.
On creating employment through industrialization, the Pualugu tomato factory, which could not be sustained after retooling by the former president, John Ajekum Kufuor, remains relevant in the NDC's plan.
And so we're going to revive the Pualugu tomato factory, and we're going to involve the irrigation farmers in the Tono area to produce enough tomatoes to feed that factory so that we can create employment for our young people here.
Already, the NDC flag bearer says some investors have shown interest in reviving the Zwalungu meat factory. He emphasized on the role of the Wulugu livestock station.
That's it for business.
And that's how we wrap up the bulletin this morning on News Desk. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Log on to myzonline.com. You'll get more of the news and updates of all the developing stories. See you again at 12.